This has nothing to do with this particular video, but GoPro Quick now allows you to see the preview at the same time you're recording, which it didn't used to do. I like that feature. Okay, that has nothing to do with the video, as I said. Hello, everybody. I am here to talk about what is in this case. This is a, well, let's open it up. The case comes with this. This is a Griffin Revolution 9 suppressor, silencer, whatever you want to call it. I was asked to do this video because somebody wanted more information than what was in a previous video I did about it, so I said I would do this for them. The big thing I'm going to talk about is what you just saw, this Griffin 9 case, this nice little green case, which by the way has got full MOLLE attachment on the back of it, and the silencer, just this in this configuration, this is the way it came. Now this particular silencer has been upgraded since I bought it. So this has the brand new baffles in it, and what I'm going to do to start this video is I'm going to start with this completely disassembled. I'm going to I'm going to show it to you completely disassembled. I am going to assemble it, and I'm going to assemble it with the 1/2 by 28 threaded piston that it came with, and then I'm going to put it on a gun that piston fits. I will then show you the same suppressor with a 13.5 millimeter left-handed threaded piston in it, which it's almost, I mean, everything's identical except for the pitch on the piston. You know, it's left-handed and 13.5 millimeter instead of 1/2 by 28 right-handed. However, there is something I want to show you about that particular piston when it is being used. The next thing I'm going to show you is going to be the 3-lug adapter or quick disconnect that I use on this particular gun. That's why this is behind me right now. And this is actually what I bought this suppressor for. I bought it for this gun. I have a Griffin Armament 3-lug mount on here, and I'll show you how the mount goes in this and how it's used. The reason this is back here is this is a 300 black. Yes, I made a precision rifle out of a Ruger 300 black ranch rifle. Don't shoot me for that, but I'm going to show you what you need specifically to mount it to that gun and talk about a specific issue when using this with 300 Blackout. So let's stop this part of the recording right now, and I'll tear this apart, and we will start from this being completely disassembled, and we will go from there. I don't know how long this video is going to be. Going to try to answer all the questions that the gentleman asked me to answer for him, and so here goes. Okay, everybody, here is the thing completely broken down. Something I want to point out before I get into this deeply is tools. What I got with this, with the original Revolution 9, was this huge washer right here, which is what you use to take the end cap off of this right here. You use it to take the end cap off, and I'll show it to you when I put it back on. And this wrench. I got this particular wrench with it right here. The other thing I got was this rubber doohickey. which is a rubber wrench, for the lack of a better way of putting it. Does it work? No, not really. Which is the reason I went back to Griffin Armament and I bought this wrench, which is huge. And I frequently have to use these two in conjunction to get certain parts apart, and probably I will end up showing you that as we go along here. So the first thing I said was I'm going to assemble it and show it to you with the 1/2 by 28 threaded piston in it, and I'm going to mount it to my Glock 19 so that you can see it, and we will go from there. So first off, what is the first thing I'm going to do? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to assemble this piece, which is part of the mounting cylinder, I guess is the best way to put it. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the piston I plan on using, which in this case is the silver one. Now it goes in and it sits in there like so. The next thing that goes in is this spring, and you need the spring. The spring is what causes it to, you know, for lack of a better way of putting it, bounce, so that you can you know, it absorbs the recoil, I guess is the best thing to say, and doesn't damage the gun or the thing during recoil. Okay, that piece is now assembled. I am going to take it and I'm going to put this back in its full configuration, which, let me see, I gotta make sure I got this the right way up. Which is, the Revolution 9 comes assembled like this. When this isn't attached, it's in what is known as the K configuration, and I will show you that after I show you this part. So okay, that's back together. I'm going to put this piece in like so, and I'm going to crank it down with this wrench like so. Now, here comes the fun part. We'll put that off camera. The baffles. As I said, these are the new baffles. Notice it's got a hole in it. It's got a rounded lip up here on each of the baffles. The old baffles had a cut that went through the collar, and these were straight edged. They weren't folded in or bent like these are. Is there a difference between the baffles? Hell yes! For one thing, it's easier to take apart. For another thing, it actually is quieter. Now, what you do is you just keep going around. You take them like so, and you make sure the little notch is there and that the notch is in. And you just keep going. Keep going notch for notch. Notch for notch. Like so. Now, guess what? There's no notch on this. Well, that's interesting. Why is that interesting? I'll tell you in a minute. First off, we're going to put this back down here, and we're going to put in the last baffle down here. Sorry. Okay. It's a good thing they don't pay me for this, right? Yeah. Anyway, this was the top baffle, and it just went around and went around and went around. See? It doesn't index. That is the top one. That is the very top baffle. And that's where that has to go when you put it back into the tube. So this is what I do, is I run it down like so, push my finger back in there. I then take the end piece, the end cap like so, And I screw it down, and I take this, it's a fender washer is what I'm told. And that's all it is. I mean, you can get one at any hardware store. But you use this to tighten down the end so that all your baffles are in. Now the thing is completely assembled and ready to go. Okay, let's move these out of the way. We're going to put this on a Glock 19, and I'll show you how it goes on there like so. Well, at least I'll try to show you how it goes on there like so. There it goes. Gotta go the right direction. And that's all there is to it. Okay, the gun, it's on there, it's fully ready to go. Nothing remarkable about it. Simple thread onto the barrel, and it stays on pretty well. No, I've got no real heartburn with this particular one. But now let's change out the piston to the 13.5 millimeter left-handed thread, and I'll show you something you really need to pay attention to if that's what you're if that's the barrel you're using. Okay, how are we going to change the piston? We're going to do it the easy way. Because the baffles are captured, okay, I didn't do it the easy way. This is why I say you need 2 wrenches. Because the baffles are captured, again, I'm saying that, I recommend, if you're going to change it out, that you do it this way and use 2 wrenches. And just take this piece out. You take that out, you'll notice everything is still definitely captured. The baffles are down in there, no worries. So we're going to take this piston out and change it for this piston. Okay, you put that piston in like so. And you screw it down, and there you are. Okay, now I'll show you the part that you really need to pay attention to. This is one of my P320s. This is 13.5 millimeter left-handed thread. And here's threads are tight. Okay, you see this goes on like so. Left-handed thread, okay? It's on. But watch. That is a problem. You need to make sure that you tighten this down, whether it's in the K configuration and directly on this tube, or whether it's on this tube. You need to make sure that this is tight in there. Otherwise, it will come apart when you're shooting it. So make sure that you definitely, if you're using 13.5 left-handed thread barrel, that you pay attention to that with this particular suppressor. And I got it on tight enough that I can't get it off. There we go. Da 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 da. So, that's that. Now, what's next? Okay, let me show you the K configuration before I show you any of the other attachments, because this was specifically asked for, so he wanted to know how to get it into the K configuration. You don't need to take this piece here apart. You can leave it together. Use your wrench. These particular teeth here. Get it down in there and then rotate the whole cylinder, this whole thing out of there, because you need this whole piece. Now, before you do anything else, use your fender washer and take the baffles out. Okay, baffles are out, and they fell over, but that's okay. We'll just leave them down because we got to show you something else with that. Put that over there. Okay, so to get into the K configuration, you got to take this piece off. Okay, that piece is off. Now, you can take this piece and you thread it directly into the tube right here. And now you got your shorter tube. But here is an important part. This piece. And there's a ring inside. You see that ring? You want the short end going to the front of the suppressor. You want the long end going back in against the cylinder like so. Okay, I'll do that again. Short end towards the front of the suppressor. Long end of on the other side of the collar, back in towards the cylinder. Okay? Then you restack your baffles. You're only using 5 of the baffles. Five of the 8 baffles. That's all you use. Those are the baffles that you're going to use for this, right there. Okay, that's all you need. I prefer to do this. Whoops, there it goes. See, the thing fell off, but hey, what the hell, it shows you. Put it back down on like so. Push your baffles back in. And voila, you're done. Just tighten it up with your fender washer and you're good to go, and there's your K configuration. Now, because it's actually a little easier to deal with this in the K configuration, I'm going to show you the other 2 things that I want to show you, the other 2 connector systems using the K configuration. So, first thing we're going to do is we are going to take this thing out of here. You take off, okay, the spring, the end cap, the piston, they all come out for the quick mount. To do the quick mount, you notice I left this piece in there, okay? You need the spring. The spring goes down in like so. Then you've got this piece, this nice little chrome cylinder piece, like so. It goes in on top of the spring. Then you'll notice the 3-lug adapter piece here. That goes down over the spring. Tighten it down. And now I'll show you how to attach it to the gun. This is my MPX SBR. Yes, it's a registered SBR. And here is the K configured Griffin 9, and you'll notice the connections there. All you do, and here is the lug, all you do is you just take it, push it down, turn it, and knock it in, and that's all there is to it. It's that simple. It's very handy. they're something to consider, because unless you pay close attention, every time you put it on, you're going to have a point of impact shift. So you need to pay attention to where that point of impact shift is. And for the record, this is really a CQB weapon. Anything under 25 yards, awesome gun. Super quiet with 147 grain 9mm. Super quiet. But you do have to pay attention, because it is not going to index in the same direction each and every time. So, okay, that was the quick mount. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the 5/8 by 24 mount for the rifle, and we will put it on the rifle. Okay, the rifle configuration is actually the easiest of the batch, and I'll show you why. Now, I said this wasn't a very good tool, this rubber thingy, but when it isn't locked on or too tight, it is okay. But there are times where after you've been firing it for a while and it starts to get gucked up, it ain't cool, for lack of a better way of putting it. Okay, this was the piece for the 3-lug system right here. Put that to side. Just to reiterate something. This particular piece we've used for everything, and we're going to continue to use it. We used it with the piston for the pistol. We used it for the 3-lug system. And even though there's nothing in it at all, which you can see there's nothing in it, it's what you need to do the rifle mounting too. You just leave it completely empty. You just leave it completely empty like it is. Screw it down, put it back into the suppressor. And screw it on like this. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's all there is to it, to put it on the 5/8 by 24 thread barrel. All of the connectors that you've seen, this is the the straight piston one that came with it, the 13.5mm left-handed thread, the quick disconnect, this one here, and this piece all came from Griffin Armament. I have one more piece I'm going to show you, and I'm going to do it while it's on the gun. So give me just a second here. Okay, the end cap is off. This is a new end cap. This end cap is, as you can tell, a flash suppressor. It's not very long, but guess what? It actually works. I have shot this at night, and there is a definite decrease in flash signature coming off the end of this, with the exception of the first round on a cold suppressor. That's a whole nother story, and I'm not going into it right now. Now, this is on a 300 Blackout right now. But there's something you need to remember, and don't forget, never, ever use this with supersonic 300 Blackout ammo. This is a 9mm suppressor. What is the average muzzle energy on a 9mm suppressor? About 350 foot-pounds at the muzzle. The average muzzle energy out of this gun with 125 grain Hornady is 1,450 foot-pounds of energy. That's just too much for this. Subsonic, Sig Sauer, 220 grain, open tip is coming in right at 450 foot-pounds of energy. And this is more than capable of handling that, especially on a bolt gun, which is the only way I would ever use this, is on a bolt gun. If I'm going to need a suppressor on a 300 Blackout semi-auto, which I have a few of, even with 220, I'm going to be using my Surefire suppressor. So that's something to keep in mind. The one last thing that I do, I've talked about tools, but here is a tool that I highly recommend that you invest in. It's actually nothing more than a long bolt going through a cap. The cap goes on this end. You put this on the end of it, and you use a wrench to push your baffles out when they're really dirty. I have had to use this, well, let's put it this way, I use it every time now because it's the safest way to get the baffles out without damaging them. So, you know, it's a safety tool for the suppressor itself. It works really well. It really does. It works really well, and it's worth the money to have it and to use it on this suppressor. So, that's pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope it was informative and usable information for you. I hope it wasn't too long, and I apologize. I don't do this for a living. You know, I'm a hobbyist. You know, I like my guns. I like to make videos to post on my YouTube channel. Nobody pays me for this, and I don't want them to, because I want to do it when I want to do it, not when I need to do it. So, anyway, hope everybody's having a great day. I'm going to post this as soon as I can, and good shooting.